And breaking news coming in from West Asia. The situation here is evolving by the minute. The Israeli army chief has warned of an Iranian response. Israel's army chief, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, said on Friday that the military strikes on Iran may not achieve absolute success and warned citizens to prepare for a potential Iranian response as well.
He said, and I'm quoting him here, "I can't promise absolute success. The Iranian regime will attempt to attack us in response. The expected toll will be different to what we are used to." This is what Zamir said in a statement while calling the strikes on Iran a historic campaign unlike any other.
Also, of course, this is the latest that has just come in. Israel is anticipating a response from Iran. US President Donald Trump, on the other hand, is set to convene a meeting with his security chiefs today to discuss the recent Israeli airstrikes on Iran.
According to the White House, the US President Donald Trump will convene a meeting of his National Security Council at 11 a.m. local time. The operation, dubbed Operation Rising Lion, targeted key parts of Iran's nuclear and military program, including nuclear enrichment facilities and ballistic missile programs.
Of course, lots of reports are coming in. As I mentioned earlier, it's a fast-moving situation. Everything remains dynamic at the moment. There are some Iranian state media reports as well of blasts being heard in a key uranium enrichment site in Iran. We are, of course, trying to sift through all the information that is coming right now. From what we do know so far is that at the moment, Israeli army chief has warned of an Iranian response. He has said that I can't promise absolute success. On the other side, in the United States, Trump is set to convene a meeting with the security chiefs to discuss the recent Israeli airstrikes on Iran. And for the latest now, we're being joined by our correspondent, Susan Teherani from New York. Susan, what can you tell us?
So Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that the United States was not involved in the strikes, but warned Iran not to target U.S. forces. Of course, as you mentioned, we're hearing numerous reports coming in from possible assassination attempts on the generals of Iran. But what's noteworthy is we're also hearing reports that President Trump told Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday, in not so many words, not to attack Iran, when Netanyahu raised the possibility of strikes in a phone conversation with President Trump. This is according to U.S. officials. Trump responded that he would like to see diplomacy run its course before turning to military options. But then we saw how fast things developed on Wednesday. U.S. pulled some of its non-essential personnel out of the region in case of an attack. I also want to note that right before the strikes, just a few hours before, Israel's Consul General said that the U.S. and Israel recognize a common threat. This was in an interview that hasn't been completely published yet on the Wall Street Journal. He said that the Western world has to decide, do you want the Ayatollah or do you want Western civilization, basically indicating that the United States and Israel are on the same page. As you mentioned, President Trump is going to meet with top administration officials and his cabinet officials at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We have reports that he's also meeting with his top brass earlier tonight. We'll have to see. Ultimately, the big question is, should Iran decide to retaliate, what role the United States is going to play in that?
Right, Susan, it is a crucial moment, and we know that Iran has warned Trump that if Israel strikes its nuclear facilities, U.S. would be responsible. And not just that, but Iran has threatened to retaliate with a counterattack not only in Israel and targeting Israeli infrastructure, but also on American military bases in Iraq. Now, with this meeting, what are we expecting? How is this conflict going to pan out?
Yeah, that's a very valid point. And again, we're trying to get confirmations right now, but there are reports that there were explosions heard in and around the Iraqi capital, Baghdad. There are concerns that U.S. personnel might be targeted. Again, we don't have confirmation regarding this, official at least, but these are according to some media reports in the region. The most important and pressing question, of course, as you mentioned, is how is it going to pan out? To what extent will the United States stand by Israel should Iran decide to retaliate? But also we are hearing reports that these Israeli strikes have not ended. And Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, has indicated that it will last as many days as possible until the targets that they have in mind are eliminated. Now, are those targets just infrastructure, or are they talking about targets about individuals inside Iran as well?
Right, Susan, and we're also getting reports that new blasts are being heard at key uranium enrichment sites in Iran's center. And of course, that aligns with what Netanyahu is saying, that they're not going to back down until they reach the logical conclusion. So how do we expect the situation to develop further? And because there's no sign of backing down, at least from Israel, and a retaliatory missile and drone attack from Iran is imminent, if anything changes after the meeting with Trump, of course.
Right, and we're again hearing this through Iranian media and Israeli media, and we're trying to really, figure out which statement is official. But Iranian media is reporting that Iran is ready in a few hours from now, any minute, to declare official war against Israel. Now, that itself would, of course, be kinetic. It would be very vast once that declaration is met. We haven't, again, heard that from Iranian officials, but we are seeing these reports circulate inside Iranian media. Again, as you mentioned, we're also hearing reports that Israel continues to carry out its attacks even as we speak, not only around Tehran, but also in places like Tabriz and other cities around Iran where there are reported nuclear facilities. Remember, some of these nuclear facilities we know of. We know Natanz, we know Fordow, but there are other nuclear sites that Iran has not declared, hence, causing that International Atomic Agency report today, which officially said that Iran is not complying and cooperating with UN inspectors.
Right, absolutely. And just for our viewers, let's just get you the latest that is coming in from West Asia at the moment.